All right, Kenman here. Ooh, that's a snappy bag today. We have another from the Amazon Prime Days sale. Every year, Amazon Prime does a little sale in the summer. A couple days, they got a bunch of really good prices on some things. Most of it is not necessarily in the knife world. They got a lot of great deals on other things, so it's like all the stuff that you usually get. You might be able to get a great deal on it. But there were some knives. This is the second one that I found. And let's get into it. Before we start, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I purchase everything at retail price. And I do these videos because I love discussing knives and sharing info and ideas with others. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to comment below. All right, what did I get? Guesses, guesses, guesses. Boom, there it is. Bag on the floor. We got ourselves a Cold Steel. The Finn Wolf. All right, who's got a Cold Steel? Cold Steel is a reputable company. They have that Triad lock that's supposedly the strongest in the world. They do some crazy tests. If you haven't seen any of Cold Steel's kind of torture tests or like strength tests that they do on their knives, it's pretty cool. Definitely recommend kind of checking that out. I did see a couple videos on the thing when I purchased this and watched them. We'll talk about it in a second here. Let's get her out first here. Boom. Okay. I did notice they had an option. It was either blister pack or in a box. It was the same price. I went with the box. I am not a big fan of those blister packs and tearing them apart and trying to get into it. But it's all good. Mini bag on the floor. There it is. We have it. The Cold Steel Finn Wolf. I don't know. Yep. I don't know. This is something. So it was on extreme sale. It was like half price or 60% off or something like that. So I think it's like it retails for $65, somewhere around there. And so I got it for, it was like just about 30. A little stiff with that lock. We can talk about that in a second. That's what I was kind of saying. I'm curious at first, but I did use that thumb stud and flick it out. The way the lock is designed, you're pushing against the back of that as it opens. So you have the pressure of that lock. As you can see as it's coming out here, kind of drops down there, comes out. But that's the strength of that Triad lock. Because when you get here, boom, it locks in and it's not going anywhere. There are videos of this exact knife where they pinched it in a vise like this and then hung weights off the end of it. So before they hung the weights, they're like, okay, here's your lock. They click it out, they put the thing on there, and then they hung hundreds of pounds off of it, solid. So Cold Steel, that Triad lock, is a reputable and strong lock. This is a nice little knife. This could be a really good kind of throw it in your kit or whatever when you're out and you're doing some heavy duty kind of work or something where you just need to be able to have a knife that you can take out and beat on some stuff, do some things, but not be as worried about damaging it for the price. You know, like you go buy yourself a $200 knife, and then to me, I'm going to hold it a little bit more delicately and not want to cut as many types of things with it versus something where it's in this friendly range. I wouldn't feel as bad about beating this up. Plus, there's the strength of that. Okay, let's get into this. We have the Cold Steel Finn Wolf, right? It has a AUS 8 blade steel. It says Cold Steel on there, AUS 8A Taiwan. Then it says Finn Wolf on this side here. It is a grivery handle, so it's that light textured. It actually feels pretty light for the scales. Looks like there is no real liner in there that takes up the whole. There isn't. Interesting. So there's no nested liners or anything there. It's just a grivery scale, which then keeps it lighter as well. for that design. And then it has the Triad lock. The Triad lock is that back spine lock. You have to push this in like that and then swing the blade around, and then it drops in. It's got a nice stiff. Once you get that to about there, 45, it still kind of holds on, and then you barely push it a little more than that 45 close, and it just kind of brings it shut. That lock, you can just see the action of it pulling it in. And so, like I said, on that, you can flick it out. So it is strong, but as you can see, I did struggle right that first time, but that can be flicked out. So this does have the action, the fidgetiness. You can't really, I suppose you could close it with one hand. I'm not sure the technique for that. Comment below if you know how to do a nice, simple one-handed close with this. But the strength of that lock, it's like a really super strong detent, but I'm still able to fire it out with the flick or the thumb. What's everyone think of this? You enjoy unboxings of these types of knives? Hit like. Subscribe if you would like to see some more. Oh, I tell you, one of these fun weekends I'm having. Good stuff. All right, so what are we doing here? There are no jimps. I like a good jimp. It's a little smooth and slick going out there, but the way the handle shapes right there, there's no choke up spot, but right there, you hit that and it kind of locks you in. So the fact that my thumb kind of slides on there, I don't mind that as much. I still prefer a jimp myself, but it doesn't feel bad. Index finger, it's not a super large knife. This is kind of close to full size, maybe not quite. But yeah, it's got a good feel. Handle is definitely big. I have a larger hand. I can stretch my hand out a little bit, and this curved end really kind of locks you in. I could see if you had really beefy, wide hand for like fingers, you might not fit into that position, but my hand is larger and it sits in there. I could even kind of back off and see there's a little bit of space, or I could choke up, leave a little bit of space up there, doing some tighter work. This knife feels really good. I'm impressed. This wasn't in my radar or anything like that. Like I said, I literally went on and was looking at the Prime specials and typed in knives or whatever and started going through. I did get another one that was in another video from a few days ago. It was a Sativian. But yeah, so there wasn't a lot of options. So I did look through, and when I saw this, I was like, cold steel. I do have another cold steel that we'll look at in a second. And they do have that reputation for some strong locks. It seemed like it'd be a nice one to just have in the collection, and maybe beat the hell out of it too. The pocket clip can be swapped to the other side, which is nice. So that's good for the lefties, which I am. Looks like it is a captive pivot, so you only need a tool for one side. Man, we're ticking off good boxes here. Blade is solid, not moving anywhere. What I would imagine with this lock, this design is a solid lock design. Like I said, that detent is pow. It pulls it in there tight. If you don't have a good strong like thumb out or a flick out, you may struggle with this a little bit, because you definitely have to put some pressure in there to get that to fire out. Wow, I am quite impressed. The scales are, this basically flat on the top. There is a little bit of contour to it, I guess, and then it's got that kind of eggshelly, or I don't know what they call that texture to it, but it does feel nice. I tell you what, this knife, I might be using this thing. This is I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed. Not that I didn't think I was gonna be. Okay, what do we got? Just about 8 inches here. It's kind of a all right, because the tip is kind of up here and this back is here, so I'm kind of going at an angle. But even at that angle, it's just about 8. I would call this about an 8-inch knife in total. Blade from that tip, 3 3/8 at the top and 3 5/8 at the bottom. with about a 3.5-inch cutting surface with that nice little belly on the front, and then a nice little straight section right there. Handle's about 4.5 straight across, but if you go angled out, you got about 4 3/4. Pretty much kind of a standard, mostly full size, kind of almost completely, or about a full size knife, I guess you could call it. A little bit bigger than the Pyrite. 11. So 11, 12, 10, 11, 12 is pretty average for this size knife thickness for the blade. 1/2 inch is about normal for the handle. We're like 0.48. That pocket clip is slim. Looks like it goes out awfully far right here. I could see how I would prefer it if they just cut it off right there. I don't always think they need that extra bill going out. Doesn't look like it's a very deep carry. You're going to have that much of it sticking out as well. Something to consider. Does have that lanyard hole right there. For the Edyards lanyard lovers out there. Weights. Who is actually interested in maybe getting one of these? They do have a few different colors on the scales as well. $30. I think it's actually still on sale. 3.30. I compare everything with CJRB Pyrite. Great, compact, standard, everyday carry button lock. 3.67, so they are almost the same. Someone asked me for a variety, but it was like, what kind of variety you want? And they're like, oh, you do that drop bear. Drop bear and the Pyrite are almost the same size, so it's like if you know one, you probably know that it's about the same as the other. I really like the drop bear, though. I might get it in the videos a little bit more. 3.3. Kaiser did send me that one. I do get a little sponsorship once in a while, which is really cool. I appreciate it. Okay. So, side by side with the Pyrite, it's, yep, you can consider this a little more full size. Dirty Pyrite, you dirty Pyrite. Handle is a little bit bigger, maybe a 1/4 inch. Same on the blade. Fairly comparable. Definitely is a little bit bigger, though. Since we mentioned that drop bear, we'll get her down here as well. You can see it's pretty much about the same ratios. So I do have that other cold steel, excuse me. This is the Tough Light. Same style. I think it's also the same AUS 8 blade steel, the same Grivery material for the handle. Pocket clip looks the same and can be swapped on this one as well. So really a lot of the same materials, and it does have that same lock. So the Triad lock on there. This one is a little bit harder to flick out, but it does flick out. It's smaller, but look at the choke up on there. It makes it large by giving that huge finger choil right there. I tore down some boxes for over an hour the other day. And look at this. I didn't clean it. I mean, yeah, it was mostly cardboard, not a lot of tape. But, man, this thing actually cut through it really well. I haven't sharpened it yet, and it was still ripping through them really nice. And these are inexpensive. I think I got this one at, like, Fleet Farm. Your local Menards or hardware type store, Home Depot, something like that. But the Tough Light is a nice one. It kind of makes me interested in getting some more cold steels. If you haven't seen any of those cold steel torture test videos, definitely check one out. Want to watch the Tough Light video? I'll put it up there for you. I've definitely been impressed. They're less, not too terribly expensive for some of their knives. They look very utilitarian, and some of them are just outright crazy looking. Check out a cold steel. Thin Wolf is cool. Stay sharp. I'll see you soon.